Why the hell look like he finna cry? He look like he finna cry. Oh, me and Kamala, we were right. Trump is, we told you so. I don't care about no Tesla stock or investments. I don't care about none of that crap. I lied about being in combat. And I want tampons in boys and men's restrooms. A disgrace. He finna cry. Look at this clown. I'll tell you, man.
Tariffs are needed to bring American manufacturing back and to help American workers left behind in places like Minnesota. He has support from the UAW. The UAW called his auto tariffs, quote, a long overdue shift away from a harmful economic framework that has devastated the working class. It signals a return to policies that prioritize the workers who build this country rather than the greed of ruthless corporations, unquote.
Da 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 da. And just maybe, Brother Tapper, you're actually doing your job. We'll give you a tiny bit of credit. Some of them patrons say we're not giving you any credit at all. I might just be a little bit nice, sir. We're giving you maybe a tiny bit of credit for humiliating Tim Walz right here.
We heard your former running mate Kamala Harris say she's not here to say I told you so, although obviously that's what she was saying about all the Trump chaos. We're seeing, I have to say though, what does I told you so really mean here? I mean, people heard her message. They did not vote for her. She lost every battleground state. You yourself have criticized the Harris-Walz campaign for being too cautious. She may have told the American people, she may have warned the American people, but she didn't do it compellingly enough to win.
That is.
Oh man, it just doesn't stop with CNN and Brother Tapper and a granddaddy, Sugar Wall, Stolen Valor, Tampon Timmy. Oh boy, this is gonna be good, family. I tell you, I couldn't wait to get into this. I couldn't.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Look at this, y'all. Look.
Because, there were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
And 2 coconuts fell out the coconut tree. Breathe in this walkie-talkie, ma'am. Yeah, she been drinking even more since November. People spoke loud and clear, man. And he's doing exactly what he campaigned on. And I tell you, people have lost it, man. People have no common sense. They don't even know what is going on. And bad enough the fake news don't want to report on what's actually happening. But chess, not checkers. And the businessman is at it, man. Trust the process. Trust the process and give it time. But as you see, things are coming down. And again, they don't want to report on it. They don't want to report on what's actually taking place. It's just Trump's the bad man, the orange man. Elon Musk is bad. Let's be mad at the people who are exposing and caught the fraud, not who did it. And Tampon Timmy loses his mind live on TV. Once again, loses his manhood, his man card. And I believe they say he doesn't have any stocks, investments. I mean, this guy is just a fake, a fraud. He a liar. Lied about being in combat. I mean, stolen valor. Tampon Tim doesn't check his own portfolio of his own home state. I mean, just a complete bozo. And gets out there and cries and cries. I just don't understand it, man. And then don't do his research. Don't even check his own portfolio. And this is a governor. I tell you, man. I wanted to see the Tesla stock go down and down. I don't even know that it backs his whole state. I mean, this complete Democrats are just, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, man. For real. And these idiots all over the X and the forum and the comment community section. Project 2025. We told you so. Project 2025. And now these people are turning on CNN. Well, CNN, you know, like, I tell you, man, we are living in some times, y'all. But let's get into this State of the Union. State of the Union. CNN. I tell you. Tim Walz reacts to Kamala Harris. I don't know what this. They ought to just stop showing this lady, man. Every time she's on here, look, she's drunk as hell. Need to breathe in the walkie-talkie, man. They need to check her blood, her alcohol. I'm telling you, they need to check her blood alcohol level. For real. Breathe in that walkie-talkie. Talking about I told you so. And just imagine if she was running the country right now.
Former Vice President Kamala Harris back with a little I told you so this week as President Trump's tariffs are setting off global shockwaves. So what does Harris's former running mate think? Well, Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota has been on a national town hall tour through red congressional districts from Iowa to Texas to Ohio, and he joins us now from Columbus. Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. You're the governor of an agriculture-heavy state, one of the top 5 in the country, I believe. What's your reaction to what you just heard from the agriculture secretary?
Yeah, good morning, Jake. Well, I'm stunned. Your questions were spot on. It's very clear that she talked about the people she's listening to. That is not the agricultural community. It is certainly not producers. It's not folks like Cargill, CHS, General Mills, who are out in my district.
People are such hypocrites, man. Hypocrites. That's what we call them, man. I mean,
look, this is a really precarious time, and the flippant nature that we're just trying something new here is really dangerous. These markets took us years to develop, and we have to be dependable trading partners. They don't come back overnight, and everyone knows in the history of trade wars, agriculture gets hit the hardest. So I'm deeply concerned. It's our #1 export. Adding the tariffs, our 2 biggest export markets are Mexico and Canada. They're our great friends. This is just really, really terrifying. I would encourage, and I'll call the secretary, I'd encourage her to come to Minnesota and see everything that she said is not what's happening on the ground. So look, it's a precarious time.
So let me ask you, because another group you're in touch with, the United Auto Workers Union, you have a lot of that. They have supported you for years and years and years. They were excited to have you on the Democratic ticket. President Trump argues that these tariffs are needed to bring American manufacturing back and to help American workers left behind in places like Minnesota. He has support from the UAW. The UAW called his auto tariffs, quote, a long overdue shift away from a harmful economic framework that has devastated the working class. It signals a return to policies that prioritize the workers who build this country rather than the greed of ruthless corporations, unquote. I have to say, that sounds a lot like language you would use. What do you say to the UAW?
Yes. It is what I would use. And here's the thing that the Democrats have to figure out. Donald Trump's language around this, he's not wrong that we've had manufacturing gutted. He's not wrong that we saw an outshoring. People of my generation were told, there aren't going to be any manufacturing jobs, so you need to go to college and rack up student loan debt. The problem is Donald Trump's solution to this is not the solution. Now, UAW is right. Certain tariffs, if they're on to steel or if they're targeted correctly, do make a difference. That's not what we're dealing with here. So just last week, 650 taconite miners are laid off. Those taconite miners are mining the taconite to make the steel to build the automobiles. So I don't disagree where they're at, and I think this is the Democratic dilemma. Donald Trump talks about the things that are real in the angst of people's lives. He doesn't do a damn thing about it. In fact, he does just the opposite.
Here we
and
go.
He pals around with the people that
Here it comes, man.
problem, and we don't offer them a solution, so it looks like we're not hearing them. So I disagree with Sean Fain and UAW on this issue. I don't disagree with them on that we made decisions over the last 30 to 40 years that I don't think helped America, but this is not the solution to it. Isolating ourselves is not the solution. We need to make sure that we're focusing. And again, I would just end with this, Jake. Donald Trump has not once ever cared about workers. This is why you need
I can't, y'all. I just can't with. And this is why they. And this is why they really need to stop putting this dude out on TV. We need to stop putting old Tampon Tim, Stolen Valor Tim. You know.
Need to support unions across the board, support the ability to have a living wage.
So we heard your former running mate Kamala Harris say she's not here to say I told you so, although obviously that's what she was saying about all the Trump chaos.
Man, just said Trump don't care about. Oh man, but hey, here it is, y'all. I don't know how many times we go through this when we say the same things over and over and over again. You know, and this clown can't even check his own portfolio. No, you know.
I have to say, though, what does I told you so really mean here? I mean, people heard her message. They did not vote for her. She lost every battleground state. You yourself have criticized the Harris-Walz campaign for being too cautious. She may have told the American people, she may have warned the American people, but she didn't do it compellingly enough to win.
That is the absolute point. And look, when I criticize, I'm criticizing myself. I own this. I'm part of the ticket. And somebody has to come up with a strategy. I think this is exactly right. This is the thing. Look, Democrats, it was a good night in Wisconsin. I was over there. We saw that happen. Donald Trump's doing this. Just to be clear, nobody on the Democratic side is celebrating this. And those folks in the street are not celebrating that Donald Trump's making all these errors. I think what the vice president's saying is that was pretty self-evident.
Donald Trump's making all these errors. He's making all these errors. What error? Tell us the errors he's making, Tampon Timmy. Tell us, sir. Exactly what he campaigned on, man. A mandate. Change. People wanted change. The people spoke loud and clear, sir. America first. The American first agenda. We've been ripped off for too long. He told you about the tariffs. Time and time and time after again. He told you what he told you every single time. What we are going to do. Promises made. Promises kept. You know, but these people are just. And then you look back at all the old footage of how Democrats used to be, and and it sounds like they all agree with what Trump is doing. I'm just saying. It looks like in the 90s, early 2000s, they were, back in a little bit back in the 80s, they were all preaching the things that is going on in this administration right now. Hypocrites. I'm just saying. Like some of y'all like reciprocal tariffs. You like the idea of this and this and that we need to be doing this and that. Now Trump's doing it. He's the bad guy. Elon Musk, he's the bad guy. Yeah. Then y'all make everything about race, identity politics. Yeah. And then that's one reason, I'm telling you, this is one reason why they're done. They're shot in the hole. And you just dig the hole deeper and you let this clown come out on live on TV. And he had to apologize just a week before last. Because he forgot to open up his portfolio. He forgot what backs his state. Governor. And now we sitting up here on CNN. I tell you, man, what pathetic times we are living in, man. With some pathetic people. Pathetic, corrupt individuals, man. Liars, frauds, fakes. We're living in some pathetic times, man.
Is going to do that. I do think the challenge for Democrats, and this is, I think, a structural problem that's going to take a lot more thinking. Why, with all of that out there, did they not think we were any better than that? And they didn't. And I'm very concerned with the folks who stayed home. And these are folks that I'll say once again, Donald Trump has identified their angst. They can't buy a house. They can't afford to get a good.
And we know we got to do some term thing like this is we're gonna have to see massive wins before midterms, or we give the other side, huge points and talking points and leverage, to win. And the Trump administration, they know this, and that's why they're setting everything in place right now. And that's why they're dropping the hammer right now. And I can't wait to see these conversations when it's all said and done. I really can't wait. And that's why we're rooting for America. We're praying, man. We're praying for Trump and this Trump administration.
Education. They're concerned that their economic future is so precarious it could slip out from under them. Less than half of Americans have $1,000 in savings. And I think, why was it not so compelling? It should have been a slam dunk for us to say, we're the party that cares about that. We're the party that's going to protect.
He's sitting up here lying. And watch him say something about Social Security.
Social Security and Medicare. We're the party that thinks the ACA is a good start, but we need to do more on health care. And we didn't do that. So I'm concerned. Democrats do well in special elections and off-year elections, but the electorate that comes in presidential election years is different. When I was young, it was easy to know what a Democrat was. They stood with the working class and labor. Republicans were country club and for the rich. Today, you ask people, they don't. We have a 29% approval rating.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us any that Donald Trump ends up with a 20.
Get it right, sir. It's CNN just reported it's 21. We know you don't check your portfolio though, but and I believe it's even lower than that. They just want to be nice and put out a number. But it's way worse than that when you got Jasmine Crockett's coming out. The AOCs. They're supposed to be the new leaders. Good luck with that. Keep putting them out there. I say keep putting them out there. And all they want to do is touch people's feelings. Nothing but feelings. Keep everybody divided, just hatred, And Trump, MAGA, conservatives are the bad, racist people, Keep sending it out there. That's all I can say. Good luck.
25% approval rating. We have to get back to the core issues that this is about making America prosperous and stable and innovative for everybody.
Well, what do you make of the criticism that one of the reasons why your party was so resoundingly rejected last November is because Democrats were gaslighting the country, saying that inflation was not a big deal, heralding Bidenomics. Not only Biden, but Kamala Harris was heralding Bidenomics, pretending that there wasn't a problem at the border. And then fundamentally, this idea that President Biden was up for another 4 years of the job, while Americans in poll after poll for year after year were saying he's too old to do the job. Your party stood against all of those things.
Look, Joe Biden.
Just get Tampon, Stolen Valor Timmy off the show. We don't want to hear nothing else you got to say. We can't trust you. You lied. We know you're a liar. We're tired of your little sweet talk. Lied about being in combat. I can't trust you. I'm tired of hearing it. I really am, man. I'm being honest with you. I'm ready for this clip to be over with.
Biden coming in and doing COVID and being a governor through COVID did a hell of a job. But I think one of the things that we didn't do is we assumed that we said, and it was true, that we were going to have a soft landing and our economy was better than the rest of the worworld. Better for who?
He got one of the biggest scams and scandals that took place in down there in Minnesota. Yeah, man, I ought to put that lady that need to be deported, that brother lover. Yeah. What's that lady name? Ilhan Omar. I'm telling you. I'm just saying, family. I know they be like, Rick, sir.
Better for the working class who was saying groceries were too expensive, as they are now and going up. They got to see us talk about things. Again, I go back to this. Don't talk about food insecurity or housing type of issues. Talk about people being hungry and wondering where they're going to live, or about their children's future, about real security. And so I think your question is spot on. I think we got intellectualized on this. I think the fact of the matter is Joe Biden did soft land the economy. He did usher us through COVID. None of us are saying we should be soft on the border, but we allow a vacuum, and Donald Trump fills it, the 800-pound gorilla, and their narrative starts to stick, and we look weak. We look weak like we don't care. We look like look, Jake, I'm not going to say, we need to do is we need to just arrest people and ship them to El Salvador. No, we need to invest the money on border. We need to make sure that we have the judges necessary to adjudicate things faster. We need to make sure if you're going to be in this country here legally, and when you are, you're going to be uplifted, celebrated, and part of this great American tapestry. We didn't do that, and then it fills them. They'll find the example that is horrific, where you have someone who's not here legally and they commit a crime. That is horrific, but we don't do a good job of telling that.
Don't you think your party needs to acknowledge that President Biden was not up for the job of running for re-election, and that this was a major mistake by the
He made that decision.
I know, but you all went along with the idea that he was up for it, and he wasn't. And everybody saw it, and the country rejected it.
Yeah, well, look, history will tell us to go back.
But look, you see how this all is orchestrated? I mean, I see. Look, and I know y'all come on here because they know Rick. Rick is funny. He's comedy. He keeps it real, and Rick makes CNN better to watch if Rick is playing it on the show. I know, I get it, y'all, but I know y'all sick of this crap, man. People gonna click off. I don't blame y'all, man. I don't. Seeing these hypocrites sit up here and Brother Tapper, and we'll give, like I said, we might give him, Brother Tapper, a little bit of points, maybe 1.5 points. For maybe just doing his job a little bit in this take right here. We might have to give him a little bit of points, y'all. I'm just saying. I know they say Rick, sir, Tapper doesn't eat anything. Just saying, we might give him a little points, man. We might give him 1.5 points. But holding the fire to Tim Walz, Tampon Timmy, stolen valor.
That very well could be the case, Jake. What I'm concerned about is learning from those lessons. I would hope we would never do it again, make a mistake, make sure we go through and get someone. But I don't know where it helps us going forward. I certainly am deeply concerned that Donald Trump is going to lead us down a horrific look. Thank God it's tariffs that he said. Donald Trump listens to no one. Remember, Donald Trump has statements about, I don't think nuclear war would be that bad. I guess we're lucky that he went after tariffs instead of that route. We have an issue in this country that is going to impact us. And if there is not a loyal opposition, if there's not some soul searching on our side, if there's not reaching out to those folks who are in the streets, they're leading right now.
So quick question.
I would tell everybody.
And we told y'all what was going to happen. We all knew what was going with the tariffs and the pros and cons. There's pros and cons to everything. And how they were going to gaslight Americans, and fearmonger and the propaganda. We already knew this was coming. So I know this doesn't surprise anybody. Especially with the loser right here. He lost. I hate how they gaslight everybody with these tariffs about, the car price is going to go up. But look at the last 4 years. They went up almost $10,000 from that percent. I mean, it's ridiculous. Gas like that. Or the prices that then went up. Completely silent half the time. Ridiculous, man. Hypocrites.
You better get with him. Yeah.
Quick question, because we got to go. But you said you're not going to run for the Senate seat there. Are you going to run for a third term for governor? Are you possibly going to run for president in 2028?
Well, I'm certainly thinking about running again in Minnesota if that's what they want. I am not thinking about running in 2028. And my advice to folks is if in this moment you're planning for 2028, you're going to get rolled by the people in the streets. You just need to be out there making sure you're helping and doing things like Cory Booker's doing things like Bernie Sanders, AOC, things that we see people out talking to folks. So for me, I'm going to get through this legislative session. If the folks in Minnesota want me, I'm kind of inclined to do that. And I just want to play my part to make sure we cannot afford to allow Donald Trump or his successor to go forward, because you're seeing the pain.
Good.
And you just can't make that up.